So, RCA is a company that's still around today. Well, sometimes. It really depends on whether or not they feel like it. I'm legitimately serious. This is like exactly how they do things. They used to be very, very prominent in the music industry, and then they moved on to other mediums once the music industry kind of died when vinyl records and other kinds of records just died. They moved on to CDs for a short time, and then they figured out that people were actually recording music on VHS tapes and CDs. So then they actually moved on to recordable VHS tapes, and I think maybe a few full-length movies. But what we're actually talking about here, why do they have the Dalmatians or whatever they're called? Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure it roots all the way back to the oldest RCA record that I have that doesn't actually have a dog on it. It just says RCA or Victrola, and it doesn't have a dog on it. But then, um, someone had their dog in front of a record player back in the day, a phonograph, Victrola slash RCA phonograph, and um, that made him the idea of having that as, and then he talked to. I should probably just not say he gave them the idea, but he did. Whoever this guy was, he gave them the idea for this. He had his dog sit in front of a phonograph, and they kind of sketched the dog or took a picture of him, and they stuck with that for a very long time with the slogan, his master's voice. And then, when they moved on to other media, like their later records, sometimes you would see with or without the dog, but mostly you would see it with the dog. I have a lot of records with the dog on it. It's like a schnauzer. And then I have a CD somewhere around here that has the RCA name, and it's just a red CD case with the RCA in white. And that's pretty cool, but it doesn't have the dog on it. And then, when they moved on to VHS tapes, they decided to change their mascots to Dalmatian, or two Dalmatians. One bigger Dalmatian and a smaller Dalmatian, presumably a puppy. And they stuck with that for a long time. Now, I don't know what it is now, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. In fact, I even have a DVD player, which, from RCA, which has the two Dalmatians pop up when you start it up. Um, yeah, and that's how far I have. That's the most recent thing I have with the Dalmatians on it. Um, or in it, or in the programming. So technically, you could take the JPEG and reverse image search it, but there's not really use since RCA has been using that picture for a little while. That's kind of a history of how RCA had the dog idea, and it was just kind of by chance. A dog was listening to a phonograph, and, well, kind of listening to a phonograph. He stepped in front of a phonograph and listened to it for a little bit, sat down. And the owner went to RCA. I believe it was someone who worked at RCA. Otherwise, it would kind of be a little hard to get RCA's attention, even back then. But, so they went to RCA, said, hey, my dog sits in front of the phonograph, and, I had to happen to be playing my voice on the phonograph, or something like that. or he was listening to the music on the phonograph. And so that's how they originally thought of it. But the Dalmatians, I'm not really sure. I believe it's just to appeal to people. You know, like how Columbia has the Columbia name, which is pretty recognizable. They don't really have a mascot per se, but RCA does. But yeah, it's kind of just a appeal to the people thing, you know. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say.